Hello, and welcome to Event Planning 101. Today we will be talking about guidelines and tips that can turn your event planning from haunted to flawless. In this presentation, we will go over the steps to take after your budget is approved. You will learn the process for requesting and reserving space, the timelines for handing in paperwork and getting things done for your event, and lastly, tips on promoting your event. Before we go over how you request space, you must first understand which organizations are eligible to request and reserve certain spaces. Only student organizations within the compliance guidelines outlined in the SEDACA Organization Manual are therefore in good standing with the university are able to request all spaces available to student clubs for meetings, events, informationals, etc. In order to be in compliance, student organizations must provide the office with a charter constitution, pending approval by SGA and SEDACA, a completed membership roster with at least 8 currently registered full-time undergraduate students with a minimum cumulative quality point average of 2.0, an executive board comprised of no less than 4 positions, president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Each executive board member must maintain a cumulative quality point average of 2.5 or better. No student is permitted to hold office in his or her first semester at Pace. Be officially registered as a full-time undergraduate student for the semesters during their term in office. Not hold office as an executive board member for more than 2 organizations. Complete all SEDACA required training for the fall and spring semesters. Enroll in the Leaders Online communities, the contact information of its faculty and/or staff advisor, and a minimum of 2 members designated to attend the annual leadership conference. In order to assist groups struggling with the recruitment and retention of its members, the Center for Student Development and Campus Activities has added probationary periods for groups with 4 to 7 members as well as less than 4 members. Now, groups unable to secure the membership minimum outlined previously are allowed to function on campus in a lower capacity than groups that are fully recognized and in good standing. Groups with 4 to 7 members are only allowed to host minor events. They cannot co-sponsor events with other student organizations or PACE departments and are able to table solely for recruitment purposes. Groups with less than 4 members are only allowed to request classroom and table space for recruitment purposes only. They cannot host minor or major events and cannot co-sponsor events with other student organizations or PACE departments. Please keep in mind that regardless of your standing with SEDACA and the university, per the BAC guidelines, organizations revert back to seed funding after 2 consecutive semesters not utilizing your budget. Now that we've gone over the rules and regulations about which spaces can be reserved by organizations based off of membership requirements, we can jump back into the planning aspect of requesting and reserving spaces. Choosing a suitable venue will greatly affect the success of your event. Before choosing a venue, you will need to make sure that expected headcounts match the capacity of the space. Picking too large of a space will give the impression that your event is not well attended or empty, while too small of a space could result in fire safety issues, forcing you to potentially turn attendees away. Layouts and setup needs as well as the cost associated with them can be accommodated. Not every room can be set up with rounds or stages, and setups taking place after 5 p.m. require the payment of overtime fees, so make sure to plan accordingly. And lastly, make sure that audio-visual capabilities can be accommodated. Each space has different AV capabilities. Make sure the space is compatible with what you have envisioned for your event. SEDACA has revamped the space reservation process to ensure that you get your space confirmed faster. The first step involves visiting your group's OrgSync profile to fill out and print a tentative event schedule. You can locate this form by searching for it on the search bar located at the top of the page or finding it in the Files section of your organization's profile, which you can access by using the toolbar on the left of the screen. Make sure to fill out all required fields and submit the typed form to the SEDACA office located on the 8th floor of 41 Park Row. When submitting the form, make sure to receive a time-stamped copy with the initials of the SEDACA staff member that received your paperwork. This copy will act as your receipt, so make sure to keep the copy for your organization's records. After these steps are followed, you will receive a confirmation based on the timelines we will go over later on in this presentation. The space confirmation process is as follows. 1. The organization's secretary submits a tentative event schedule to the 8th floor of 41 Park Row. 2. The information on the form will be inputted into the reservation system, referred to as R25, as a record. 3. Depending on the space requested, a special events or academic scheduling staff member will review the record and supply you with an initial confirmation of space. 4. Following this, as an additional and final confirmation will be sent via email outlining your processed catering, media, and B&G requests. 5. After receiving this confirmation, it is the duty of the Executive Board to review the confirmation to ensure that all of your requests have been processed accordingly. Please submit any revisions or additions that need to be processed no later than 72 hours following the date that you received your final confirmation. If you have requested revisions, you will receive an updated confirmation. This will now act as your event's final confirmation. Basic event planning timelines consist of requesting a space, receiving a confirmation, and finalizing your event details in the weeks leading up to the date of your event. The times in which you would want to accomplish these key steps in your event timeline depend on the type of event that you are hosting. Tabling events occur in designated lobby spaces of One Pace Plaza and typically consist of bake sales, toy drives, clothing drives, informationals, and recruitment efforts. At least 2 weeks prior to your event date, request your space by submitting your tentative event schedule to the SEDACA office located on the 8th floor of 41 Park Row. At least 1 week prior to your event date, the entire Executive Board will receive an event confirmation generated by the reservation system R25. If you haven't received a confirmation by this date, please visit our office or email us at spacereservations@pace.edu. When you receive your confirmation, it will outline the number of tables and chairs that have been processed for your tabling event. Please review the confirmation and advise on any revisions needed to be made no later than 72. Minor events occur in designated classroom spaces on the Pace University New York City campus and typically consist of meetings, open forums, focus groups, member-specific events not open to the Pace community, recruitment efforts, and so on. At least 3 weeks prior to your event date, request your space by submitting your tentative event schedule to the SEDACA office located on the 8th floor of 41 Park Row. At least 2 weeks prior to your event date, the entire executive board will receive an event confirmation generated by the reservation system R25. If you have not received a confirmation by this date, please visit our office or email us at spacereservations@pace.edu. When you receive your confirmation, it will outline the processed ED media and B&G requests for your event. Please review the confirmation and advise on any revisions needed to be made no later than 72 hours after receiving your confirmation. As long as the event being conducted is open to the entire PACE community, minor events that contain catering requests are typically identical in nature to the minor events without catering discussed earlier. Although they are typically identical in nature, event planning timelines for minor events with catering do differ than non-catered minor events in order to allow enough time to process the catering. At least 4 weeks prior to your event date, request your space by submitting your tentative event schedule to the SEDACA office located on the 8th floor of 41 Park Row. At least 3 weeks prior to your event date, visit your organization's profile on OrgSync and submit your catering and event finalization form to provide all ED media, catering, security, and facilities needs. At least 2 weeks prior to your event date, the entire executive board will receive an event confirmation generated by the reservation system R25. If you have not received a confirmation by this date, please visit our office or email us at spacereservations@pace.edu. After receiving your confirmation, it is the duty of the entire executive board to review the confirmation to ensure that all information has been inputted and processed accordingly. Please make sure to carefully review the confirmation and advise on any revisions needed to be made no later than 72 hours after receiving your confirmation. If any changes need to be made on the days leading up to your event, please contact the Center for Student Development and Campus Activities as soon as possible. Depending on the nature of the event, revisions can be made up to 5 business days prior to the event. Please email spacereservations@pace.edu with the circumstance and requested change. Please note that SEDACA staff may need to reach out to you concerning cancellations caused by severe inclement weather and other unexpected events that may affect the services requested for your event. Rescheduling events due to these circumstances will be dealt with in case-by-case basis and may not follow the standard outlines provided. Major events occur in large programmable spaces such as the Student Union, Bianca Room, Gym, Schimmel Theater, etc. These events are catered and typically consist of, but are not limited to, dances, dinners, concerts, fashion shows, date auctions, and so forth. Depending on the nature of your event, request your space by submitting your tentative event schedule to the SEDACA office located on the 8th floor of 41 Park Row 4 to 6 weeks prior to your proposed event date. Since logistics for major events are multifaceted, please contact your organization's assigned SEDACA representative after submitting your request form to schedule a production meeting. Members of the entire executive board are required to attend the production meeting to further discuss event logistics and make sure all universities' policies and expectations are being met. At least 3 weeks prior to your event date, visit your organization's profile on OrgSync and submit your catering and event finalization form to provide all ed media, catering, security, and facilities needs. Please remember that all major events require a diagram to be included with a submitted event and catering finalization form. Visit the How To folder located in the Information tab of the New York City Student Leader Blackboard community for directions on filling out and submitting forms via OrgSync. At At least 2 weeks prior to your event date, the entire executive board will receive an event confirmation generated by the reservation system R25. If you have not received a confirmation by this date, please visit our office or email us at spacereservations@pace.edu. After receiving your confirmation, it is the duty of the entire executive board to review the confirmation to ensure that all information has been inputted and processed accordingly. Please make sure to carefully review the confirmation and advise on any revisions needed to be made no later than 72 hours after receiving your confirmation. If any changes need to be made on the days leading up to your event, please contact the Center for Student Development and Campus Activities as soon as possible. Depending on the nature of the event, revisions can be made up to 5 business days prior to your event. Please email spacereservations@pace.edu with the circumstance and requested the change. Please note that SEDACA staff may need to reach out to you concerning cancellations caused by severe inclement weather and other unexpected events that may affect the services requested for your event. Rescheduling events due to these circumstances will be dealt with in case-by-case basis and may not follow the standard outlines provided. Throughout the space confirmation process, individual members of the executive board may receive various confirmations as requests for your event get processed from our different service providers. Based on the event timelines outlined previously, final confirmations will be sent to the entire executive board. It is your duty to review this final confirmation and advise on any revisions that need to be processed. Let's take a closer look at an event confirmation to ensure that you know what to review and where to look for this information. The top portion of your confirmation will contain the name of the event, a brief description of the event, and your event reference number. Event reference numbers are used to locate records on the reservation system. It is important to keep record of these and include them in all correspondences with the office when discussing each respective event. The lower half of your confirmation includes the start time of your event, the reserved time of the event, which indicates when your reservation begins and therefore when setups will take place, and it also includes the location of your event. Below that is your processed media request, followed by your processed catering requests, and ending with your processed setup needs that buildings and grounds will complete by your event start time. Off-campus events are any events sponsored by your organization funded through the student activities fee or your organization's agency account. Examples of this include day trips to museums, activity-based networking events, large galas or formals, and so on. If you get approved to host an off-campus event, please follow the steps outlined below. At least 3 weeks prior to your event date, visit your organization's profile on OrgSync and submit a payment request for a day trip. At least 2 weeks prior to your event date, please schedule a meeting with the office manager of SEDACA to set up your event registration page. Please make sure to be able to explain the logistics of the event so that it can be correctly inputted into the registration system. At least 1 week prior to the event date, make sure to track the progress of the registration page. Has your event sold out? If not, keep recruiting for students to attend. If it has, activate the waiting list so that students become aware if tickets become available at a later time. If needed, at least 3 business days before the event, pick up any tickets for admission from the SEDACA office. Making sure your event is publicized is also a crucial aspect of the event planning process. If students don't know about your event, they definitely will not come. Regardless of what the promotion may be, all materials should include who is hosting the event, the date and time of the event, a brief description so students know what exactly to expect, and the location for the event. It is important for you to change up the ways in which you promote in order to capture the attention of potential attendees, so think outside the box when it's time for you to promote your event. Flyers and posters are the most common forms of promoting your events. You can use funds left in your organization's promotional budget to your digital content printed at the Document Services offices located on the B level of 41 Park Row and the first floor of One Pace Plaza. It's important that your flyers are able to cut through the clutter. Make sure to use bright colors and graphics to grab the attention of those passing by. Flyers and posters can only be placed on the bulletin boards provided by the university. Any flyers found in different locations will be discarded immediately. The two options of bulletin boards your organization can post on are the PACE Post bulletin boards and the Campus Activities boards. If you would like to post on other bulletin boards, you must get approval to do so by the department that the bulletin board belongs to. PACE Post bulletin boards can be used by any PACE student to freely post messages that they would like the PACE community to be aware of. Campus Activities bulletin boards are also used to post messages to the university, but organizations must get the approval of SEDACA prior to posting. Once the materials are approved, a SEDACA staff member will post them on the appropriate boards located in One Pace Plaza. Digital flyers and/or posters can be displayed around campus on the university's Homer screens. These flyers and/or posters are known as Homertisements. Students living on campus make up a large portion of an event's number of attendees. Make sure to get any and all promotional efforts approved by the Residence Director, or RD, of the respective building prior to distributing or posting any materials used for promotion. Do you want to use PACE resources to help promote your event? Make sure to follow this information when wanting to get the word out. To send a message over the Campus Activities email, New York City Campus Activities /L@list.pace.edu with the exact message that you would like to be sent addressing the student population at least 3 business days prior to your event. To send a message over OrgSync, email your assigned SEDACA representative at least 3 business days prior to your event. To be included in the PACE Pulse, email Tiffany Lopez at tlopez@pace.edu at least 2 weeks prior to your event. Do you want to know what's happening on campus? Make sure to visit our page on the PACE website and join our SEDACA Leaders profile on orgsync.com to stay up to date with all pertinent information or to find out about upcoming events. You can also find out about upcoming events by using the PACE Events module located in the PACE mobile app called MyPACE Mobile. Make sure to interact with us on our social media listed on the screen. The YouTube, Tumblr, and Instagram accounts are brand new to our office, and we are working on adding content to them. Make sure to follow and subscribe. This concludes the Event Planning 101 webinar. If you have any questions concerning the information in this webinar, feel free to contact Javier Grulon or Janelle Waldropt. Now it is time to test your knowledge. You will have 20 questions, all multiple choice to answer. You must get at least 18 correct in order to qualify as completing this webinar. Are you ready? If so, let's get started.